Folks, my name's Greg Carlson, and I'm from upstate New York, 34 years old. I'm a Christian guy, and when it comes to, I don't know if we're going to really have a direction of talking about dating and relationships in this podcast. Are we going to talk a little bit about that?
We'll touch on the subject some for sure.
What can the people expect when we meet up and chat? What can they get their juices tantalized with? How can we do this?
Well, we got multiple men's perspective, different ages from different parts of the country.
Yeah.
And we're talking about all the things of interest to men. And, I think that it's not about relationships, right? I think it's just about experiencing fulfillment and success, right? So we have these interests, and some of us have pursued those interests, have some experience, have some wisdom to share, maybe some stories about what not to do.
Yeah, big time.
Absolutely.
A lot of perspectives we all bring throughout our lives.
Yeah. Well, thanks for clarifying that. We're a little unsure, but guess what? Now we know exactly what we're here to talk about. We're going to send it. So thanks for tuning in. Again, my name's Greg Carlson. I'm a local real estate agent here in the greater Austin area. To my left, we got our main man, Jake.
Jake Margis from Wisconsin, and moved down here to Austin, Texas 3 years ago. Have a global supply chain background and other various industries. 37 years old. I bring a lot of perspectives of, broken engagement, dating girls, also successes and failures in my career that I'll be able to share with you, along with business perspectives with having a small business certification as well. So, and then to my left here is the Shawn.
The Shawn?
Sweet.
It's like
Mr.
the Shawn, but I like that. Shawn Sweet, currently 42. We don't want to grow up. Would you like to know where I live?
Yeah, where'd you grow up?
Don't get that.
I grew up in the country. I don't get that a lot. People are like, oh, really? Yeah, I grew up in the country, worked on a dairy farm, threw some hay in the summers, got a little wild, did sports, chased girls, drank a lot of beer, which I just thought everybody did at that age. Ended up going to the Air Force, then into sales and in business. It's interesting. I got here in Austin. That's one of the topics is how we all ended up here and what we're doing. But I got here at a very interesting time in my life. It's probably about 4 years ago now. I separated after a 17-year marriage, it's been a minute. I was married for a while and I've been here for a while, so it's like two different parts of my life. But I got married at 21. If you think about that, it was like before dating apps, certainly before my brain was fully developed. It was like, yes, I think you're beautiful. 3 months later, let's do this. Story for a different day. But really had an amazing opportunity to raise kids, build a business, and just lived a pretty simple life, but a very successful life for in my 20s and then my mid 30s, and then came to Austin, as a newly separated guy looking to navigate career-wise a 3-year non-compete. And then a pandemic happened just a couple of months later. And as they say in Austin, things got weird. And I just want to talk about all that. But all of our interests. Looking forward to really just mixing it up with you guys. To my left here is a buddy.
Right up.
And I'm going to go by Ace Hart. So, Ace Hart.
Ace Hart.
Yeah, Ace Hart. That's
Ace
right.
Hart.
And moved out here 3 years ago, actually from the San Francisco Bay Area. Mostly what I'm going to be focusing on as far as our podcast goes is going to be relationship and dating advice. I've spent the greater half of my life, probably at least 24 years, studying this, trading guys, probably thousands of guys throughout San Francisco Bay Area, Sacramento, and just many parts of Northern California in kind of the Venusian arts, if you will, on how to pick up, seduce women, whatever you want to call it. And that's not what we're going to be here for as far as like seduction. We're not doing that. We're about building you into a better person. So anything that you've seen where it's gimmicky, like just do this, just do that. I mean, we could jump on YouTube right now, throw in, a quick search and have all the gimmicks you want in the world. That's not what I've ever been about. And that's not what this group is going to be about. So if you guys stick around for the ride, I guarantee you will learn something. And by the end of this journey, you're going to be a changed person. And
Ace.
Thank you.
Hey guys, my name is Michael Mcleane. I was born and raised in Venezuela. I've been living in the United States for the last 23 years. My journey was, like most people, it just, took the desire to have a better life. I came to this country with a luggage and $10,000. That was it. I had a job opportunity in Michigan. I took it. And now I'm here in Austin and I'm living the dream. I have also a side business that's called Style Watches. The mission or the vision of this business is to help improve men in their sartorial journey. We can talk about a little bit better in the future, but I'm very passionate about how a guy or how a men present themselves to the world, especially with their peers, with their friends, right? And their significant others. I know for me, that has opened a lot of doors, a lot of friends that always ask me, what do you do for a living or where are you coming from? It's just all how you present yourself for the rest of the world. So that's pretty much it. And yeah.
Where did that passion come from?
That passion came from very young, since probably 10 years old. If you know a little bit of my country, we were very influenced for Europeans. A lot of Europeans moved in Venezuela after World War II. So a lot of that trendy or that style, that swang, especially Italians. There's a lot of Italians in Venezuela. We kind of grew up in that environment. So for me, it was very natural. My mom is an artist. My dad is an engineer. So I think I got both of those worlds.
My name's Greg Carlson, and I'm fired up 99% of the time. Okay, the 1% that I'm not is just so I can recharge and get back after it every single day. It's what I do in sales. You got to have that hard charging, nonstop, in your face attitude, right, guys?
That's right.
Yeah, because you're a lion, you're a shark out there hunting your food every single day. So that's what I do, metaphorically speaking. Hobbies, fun things I like to do. Really enjoy working out. Just like probably all these dudes in here, you love working out, you got to stay fit. Also running a book right now about real estate because I'm ranked top 1% realtors in the Austin area as well as the country. So I'm going to help a lot of other agents through this book. So stay tuned for that. Get pumped. What do you like to do for fun, Jay?
Working out, outdoor activities, hiking, kayaking, paddleboarding, the Austin kind of things. So I've trained men who've just started at the very beginning of their workout journey and trying to better their bodies mentally, physically. So if you're like looking for programs, I can help you out with that. We'll discuss that at a later time. But me being 37 years old, I still outlift most guys in their 20s. So definitely a lot of good tips I can give away there, and we can get into some nutrition. And
how long have you been working out?
Since I was in high school.
16?
No, 13.
13?
So actually middle school.
High school and 13 years old?
My parents were Olympic lifters in college is how they met.
That's cool.
Mom was the strongest for her weight class at 105 pounds. Mom, don't listen to that. But that's where I got a lot of my fitness journey started. So we'll hit on that a lot throughout this journey for all the men out there.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. That's cool.
We're doing hobbies.
Oh, yeah.
Hobbies, things to do.
We want to know what you like to do, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I just wanted to, sort of like Greg's I just wanted to win, wanted to be a man, wanted to win. In my 20s, I just became obsessed with self-development, building business, did a lot of that, started leading people, and learned in the process that I just love people, right? Like, you think about encouraging, lifting people up, but also maximizing, sort of looking at this raw material, and building something amazing. And so it actually transferred not just from business, but then even in my personal life. I started mentoring a lot of men, and just, it was so enriching. Plus, it was nice to do something, and you ever get good at something, but you're being paid for it, and then you just sort of wonder, is this really a passion, or is it about building a business? Is it about the money? And then all of a sudden, you volunteer, you do some work in that area, and you realize, wow, no, this makes me come alive. So even coming here in Austin, I've definitely mentored some younger guys, and it's just powerful. It's just powerful, being mentored and then mentoring others. People say, what do you do for fun? I mean, sure, I exercise. I love paddleboarding, love live music, love going out, love working a room, all the things. But I love that as much as I enjoy, for me, working a group, like there's about that connection. It's about quality relationships. So I think a lot of guys have a hard time breaking into some of those mentorship or just friendships at times because they don't understand really vulnerability, or they're afraid of what someone's going to think. And the reality is you've got to sort of shine a light on some stuff in order to ever really be honest about it to get help. So
and get out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely, yeah. So I just love people, love working with people, and being a man, in all of its fullness.
So, Bill, what are your passions
Old
about?
Spice. Old Spice.
Ace Hart.
Ace Hart.
Ace Hart.
What do you like to do for fun?
So let's go.
What do you not like to do?
I like to do everything.
You are very fun.
But I guess the core things I like to do for fun would be definitely working out. I think, again, like you said, I think everyone in here does. Mm-hmm. You will too, and you should. It's very healthy. It's a great stress reliever. Boosts your endorphins up and gets you pumped, as our good friend Greg would say.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
So, but besides that, I also like to do things that are a little more relaxing too. I haven't watched too many movies probably in the past few years, simply because my head gets stuck in self-help movies and books and things like that. Always looking to better myself. And unfortunately, yet fortunately, that takes up a lot of time. And so you'll notice that through this journey, your free time, you have to learn to spend wisely, because if you're really getting at it and you're having a good time, growing yourself, it's going to also take away from other areas. We can't, sacrifices. We can't be alive, 24/7, unfortunately. So it's, awake and alive 24/7 is a little bit difficult, but I kind of started my path toward what I'll be talking about in our series here, because I'll be quite frank. I was terrible, with women and dating at one time, right? I wasn't the center of the room. I wasn't the, garner the attention type of person. I was a little more of a wallflower, a little quieter, yet it was always in me. And so I used to wonder why all these other people can, go into a room and affect an entire room, or, even more importantly at the time when I was younger was, affect that particular woman that I was interested in, right? How did he do that? What did he do to do that? And I had to do a lot of, inside looking, as well as also a lot of study in psychology. I could write a thesis basically at this point in my life on the psychology behind people. And that's what I had to learn. A great book for anybody to read would be, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
Definitely a great starter point, to kick. It might be old, but it is still valuable.
What's a great tip you learned from that book?
Oh, gosh. So many. Too many. Honestly, you have to make sure, the best deals, right? If you're trying to make actual business dealings with people, you can get better deals done if you can garner an actual friendship with that person, an alliance, right? Not to bring up a politician, but Trump has done that pretty successfully. He's very good at going in, making buddies with somebody, and then having them stand down on certain subjects. And that is actually one of Dale Carnegie's teachings: is you don't need, you can win a lot more friends with, you can get a lot more bees with honey than you can vinegar, right? So if at any point you can try to, alleviate a situation by, with a little bit of honey, you should. So I would say that that's one of the better lessons that I got. But again, the book is just packed with them. So not to take up the entire time. This is just about quick hobbies here, but no, it's been a great journey, and I think that we'll learn a lot more. I'm going to jump in anytime we have a any of those subjects come up and try to give, pointers and tips and things like that on it.
Little sprinkles.
Little sprinkles. There you
Little
go.
sprinkles. For a deep dive, you gotta follow Ace.
That's right. For a deep dive, you'll be
Ace
able to
Hart
get.
throws great parties too.
That's right. You got to know how to throw a great party.
Yeah.
What do you like to do for fun?
So, sport wise, I've always been like the odd kid with sports, not the traditional sports. I always took the odd ones. I was,
Pickleball, I knew it.
yeah, right.
Love pickleball.
Well, something close by. When I was a teenager, I used to compete in table tennis.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I did diving as well, trampoline diving competitions, and then a little bit of water polo. Water polo. That was the most difficult sport ever.
Yeah.
I did not last that long. I didn't have the strength or the height because you have to be very tall in order to grab and have big hands in order to grab that ball and throw it out while you're in the water, and you can't touch the floor. So it's always balancing, like constantly swimming. You can't. There's no rest. So for me, that was a no-go, but I tried it. And then after that, I started doing weights. So I've been doing weights for 30 years now. And then in the last 10, 12 years, I started doing mountain biking. So I do mountain biking and weights. And once in a while, if I have an opportunity to play table tennis, I'll play it. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell. And
What's your Instagram handle? How can people find you if you want to talk sartorial talks?
so you guys can find me on Sartorial Style ATX.
Sartorial style ATX. How do people find you if they want to do a little deeper dive in your specialties?
They'll have to reach out to me. Actually, I have a card.
Show us
I'm
the
going to show you the card. I'm going to show you the card. Show the card, okay?
These are awesome.
Yeah, so
All right.
there you go.
Yep, we got it close up. Cool.
Love it.
And how do people get connected with you?
Shawn Sweet. SHAWNSWEET. Apps. Throw an app. You'll find me.
At Shawn Sweet.
You got it.
What about you, Buckaroo?
Either LinkedIn, Jake Margis, or otherwise Instagram at Machine Margis, but the Machine.
The Machine.
Up.
Love it.
For me, at Greg Carlson or Carlson Real Estate Group. Any final words, gents? Any words of inspiration before we close out the intro of Gents and Gin?
Well, we need to talk about, at the end of the day, why are we doing all this stuff?
Why?
Why, right?
The
The big question of the day,
The
why are we doing this?
Are we doing
Can I
this?
start?
Sure.
By all means.
Kick us off.
Well, we're gents.
Yeah.
And I assure you next time we'll have gin.
Wow.
That is part of it.
And what happens when you get some gents in a room and the gin's flowing? Mr. Phil.
You get some good discussion.
Mr.
About the journey.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the journey. All
Talk about our perspectives,
be
the journey.
educated through storytelling. Bunch of successful, growth-minded people here
Yes, definitely.
with killer style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me, and I'm just going to open the conversation, is why we're doing this for me is historically, I think there's a loss of traditional morals have been lost in the last couple decades. I grew up in a two-household parenthood, and I had all the benefits of having a dad, having a mother, and they raised me to the best person that I am today, right? And what I found in the last couple of years is a lot of people have lost those traditional values. So, for example, accountability, responsibility, duty, honor, those things have been lost in the last couple of years. And it has, I believe, affected our way to connect with people. It's not only just talking about gents or talking about gentlemen or lifestyle, it's talking about people in general, right? How we communicate, how we bond, right? So I think that's important topic to discuss. And I'm passionate about bringing that up to the light so people understand that we should not deviate from those traditional values that has hold us for thousands and thousands of years. And we need to bring those back.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Yep. Just to piggyback off of that, yeah, I mean, everything that he said is true. And like a lot of things have changed in the past, only 10 years or so. kind of for the worse. I mean, if you think about it, the average kid these days doesn't know how to actually effectively communicate face to face. It's all done, through texting and social media apps and things like that. And I think that's a very bad situation. It doesn't set them up for life. It doesn't set them up for the future, for work, for jobs, or relationships, any of that. It's actually kind of going backwards. And that's not where we want to go. And to Michael's point, a lot of these kids are growing up in single head of household homes. They have a mom or a dad, and they're split. They didn't have the opportunity that I had as well, where, I had a mom and a dad there, and I got kind of the best of both worlds of that and was taught the right and the wrong. I wanted allowance one time when I was 8 years old because my friend down the street did, and my dad was like, you can go cut lawns. That's how you can get allowance, go earn your keep. There's a lot of kids that don't get that these days. It's just, here's allowance, here's free money. And we see it happening right now. Kids are expecting free money for doing nothing, right? They just want the government to pay for everything. I think that that's a bad direction for the youth of today, especially in the modern world. In the Western world, we're kind of heading in the bad direction, and we're trying to correct that. So getting out there and showing these kids that you can, have conversations face to face, and they're better than whatever it is you're texting on the phone, is paramount. So.
Agreed. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
I think obviously these things are great points. We're going to talk about a lot of things, but something that has always been on my heart is just, men are similar in more ways than they realize, right? So what I'm talking about even is just like some of like the socioeconomic stigma, just the prejudices, all the things, right? Whether it's someone that is on one side in politics or on the other side in politics. I personally grew up very poor, working on a farm, and in the country, very liberal, way up north near Vermont and Canada, tends to be cold and liberal up there. Yeah, there's some traditional stuff, sure. But then, being in the military, actually, I think there's at least one of us at the table that have some similar background there. And it was just, I was always part of like teams and sports, and you have to drop your differences in order to come together for a greater good. And you have to know your role and fine tune things. And then the military, I learned some of those things, was able to implement it with people from all different backgrounds, right? And that was powerful. And then, and then in faith and seeing different people. And I still think there's so much, it's better than it used to be, but I think there's so many different negative views. And I think that one way we become better men is by coming together, right? Like my favorite song may be different than your favorite song, and we might have we may have been born in different continents or different parts of the world. We may speak different languages, and we have different, but we all have a story, right? And as we go through life, our stories can change. And I think it's important for men to understand, to some degree, you're in this process. You get to choose. You get to make choices. There's this thing called lifestyle design, right? Like you get to make decisions every day that will make a difference in your future, right? And we could talk about that. We could tell very real life stories about. We talked about like delayed gratification, making changes and implementing, whether it's exercising or reading books or just whatever it is, right? And then all of a sudden, the person that you become in the process is powerful. And that's something that no one can ever take from you. And I'm excited about bringing some of those vulnerable, sometimes silly stories and people can relate to and hopefully learn from.
Let's do it. What about you? What are you looking forward to most about sharing with
Definitely kind of just sharing the vulnerabilities over my life. I came down here, as I said, 3 years ago, where I felt scared. It was a new thing for me, never moving out of state before, being away from family, wondering, okay, am I going to make it down here? Am I going to fail? Which you got to get out of your comfort zone, and hopefully we'll push you to get out of your comfort zone, because you have to take that growth mindset, push yourself, and be afraid or not be afraid to fail at this point, because as I said, I've failed in my life plenty of times, but that's what helps you grow. And this is like the brotherhood for you to come to with those issues that you probably are facing right now, that we have faced at some point in our lives. And also just fighting that through your developing better emotional intelligence as well, of where like you think the problem you're going through is like the worst thing in the world. It's probably not, sad to say, but at the same time, it's honesty that you will get through it, and we can help you with that by what we're saying to you here and sharing through our stories.
Totally.
So the biggest thing is basically getting you in that growth mindset, being a part of this brotherhood, and developing yourself to be a better man that we all know you can become, because life is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah. And I want to add to that is like, in this day and age, it's been a lot of separation of individuals, right? As people.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, it was all about family, right? And neighbors and friends, and everybody in the neighborhood would help each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
That's gone. Pretty much right now, everybody is very into this individualistic persona, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they want to do everything on their own. They don't want to have any type of assistance.
Too prideful.
Too prideful. So everybody goes on their own way, doing their own thing, and this makes it worse, because at the end of the day, we belong part of the animal kingdom, right? And we as human beings are very communicative people. Like, we are meant to connect with others,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what we are meant to do. And that's what I want to bring is awareness of that we're losing that we have to come back together as a society and break these barriers of negativity and separation. I think separation is the worst thing that can happen right now. And we have to eliminate that and bring people back to their communities, bring back people to talk to each other and understand their point of views. Like Shawn said, you know what I mean? Those experiences that we've had all across is not foreign, right? Most of these experiences that we're going to be talking about in this podcast, at some point, somebody has experienced it. And you guys got to understand, you guys are not alone. You guys are not alone in this journey. Everybody has at some point lived something similar or exactly the same.
Folks, I'm going to close this out. Got you? Yeah. So there's a little tidbit of what you guys can expect when you tune into Gents and Gin. As far as our show cadence goes, we're going to figure all that out as it goes, right? Life's messy, and we have 5 people schedules we're working with, so we're going to do our best to deliver the quality content at a consistent rate, so stay tuned. It's going to be blasted out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher FM, all the major platforms for podcasts. Again, Greg Carlson.
Jake Margis.
Shawn Sweet.
Ace Hart.
Michael Mcleane.
Till next time, folks. Cheers.